Come on, give me some sound. Oh, oh no. I figured that out. Hmm. Oh, Martin. I think. Uh, phone. Phone. Really good. Yeah. Conjuring.
And I'm going to climb your mountain and take you by surprise. And come away here, lover, and be my eyes. See here, you better do the things you dream. See here, you better do the things you scheme. See here, you better do the things you believe in. If the likes of those you see make you cry, go to them and smile away the tears before they die. You have magic and spells to while away the years. So see here, you better do the things you dream. See here, you better do the things you scheme. See here, you better do the things you believe in. Yeah. Look to the child to teach you what you should know. Again and again, you're gonna reap what you sow. And spells to wild away the years. Oh, see here, you better do the things you dream. See here, oh, see here, you better do the things you scheme. See here, you better do the things you believe in. Oh, see here, you better do the things that you dream. See here, you better do the things that you scheme. See here, you better do the things that you believe in.
Thanks, Danny. Thank you, Felina. You guys are amazing. They just learned that. I requested that song just this week, and they've just learned it, and it's not a song that probably any of you have ever heard, I would imagine. It was written by a guy named Michael Callan. And back in, do we have our technical stuff handled? I know I've been getting texts from the, yay, thank you for being patient with us, those of you who are joining us online. I think we got the sound together now. So anyway, back in the 90s, I was participating in a queer community in Santa Monica. It was kind of an artist colony, and they would do performance and theater and writing and art and poetry. It was just this amazing place, and it was founded by a guy named Michael Callan, who wrote that song. He was long past by the time I had joined them. He died in 1983 of AIDS-related complications. But his work back in the 80s, when the AIDS crisis first hit, completely changed the trajectory of how the country and our health infrastructure was dealing with it. He was, that's why I love the song, because there's so much urgency. You hear it in there. He had a definite purpose for which he was, you know, it was life and death for him. And yet I think that same call is available to all of us, right? There is something within each of our hearts, something that is uniquely ours to accomplish in this life, on this planet, in this world, that we better sort of get busy doing. If we've got that, if we've got a dream, if we've got a passion, if we've got something that's ours to do on the planet, then to be able to bring that kind of energy and passion that Michael so beautifully demonstrated and that I was able to experience even 20 years after his death is a huge gift. Myrtle Fillmore had the same thing to say about it, and she was writing back in the early 1900s. And I found this quote years ago in a book that was written based on letters that people would write in. Myrtle Fillmore is our co-founder. Did I say that? Myrtle and Charles Fillmore started Unity. And Charles did most of the speaking and most of the writing, but Myrtle ran Silent Unity, which is a prayer ministry that's still going on 130, 40 years later. And people would write to Myrtle for counsel and advice, and she would respond back to them. And so this quote comes from one of those letters from someone who had written and was having trouble really getting engaged in what was theirs to do. And she wrote, "Bring forth your own joyous world of love, friendship, beauty, and plenty. There is within you the God-given intelligence to build such a world." And then just 3 simple words, get at it. I love that. In the 1900s, she's telling us to get at what's ours to do. So this morning, what I want to talk about is some of the maybe obstacles that we encounter when we're sort of being called into or wanting to move more deeply into that which is ours to do. What are some of the places that we've experienced resistance? And then beyond that, how is it that we can overcome it so that we can truly get at it, you know? So we can live into that passion, that possibility, that way of sort of seizing the moment and the opportunities that are available to us. I'm going to start with sort of biblical examples for resistance. Probably the greatest resistors in the Bible are, and it happens, you know, from early on when as we talked about last week, when Jonah and the whale, all the way up through Paul, the prophets who were charged and had this calling to sharing the word of God, most often they were pretty reluctant about that work that they were being called to. As I said, we talked about Jonah last week, and he, if you remember, he just plain went the other way. Not only was he not willing to step into it, he literally tucked and ran to the other side of the planet. Others, Gideon is another one. Gideon's excuse, though, wasn't so much about he didn't want to do it, but Gideon's excuse was he comes from a clan that was the weakest in their whole tribe. And not only that, he was the weakest in his clan, so he wasn't up to it. You know that, so that those places where we maybe don't feel like we're good enough or strong enough, or where we don't have the capacity or the ability or the education or whatever it is, that's common, right? And over again, these prophets are sort of counseled by God that God will be with them, that he will support them, he's got their backs, and still that resistance happens, just as it does for us. Another is Jeremiah. Jeremiah said he was only a child. He was just too immature. He was only a child, wouldn't be able to handle it. And then the other thing, what he was concerned that the news he was bringing, he was going to be criticized for it. That people were going to insult him, right? That fear that we all have about really stepping out, and it's one of the reasons that I think our mission and purpose here at Unity North Shore is so salient, right? Because what we're about is creating a safe space where we can take risks and live our deepest truth, to go to sort of confront head on those places where we don't feel good enough, where we don't feel like we've got the right resources or the education, or we're worried about what other people are going to think. Those are the resistance points. And I think it's helpful to realize that since biblical times, those are dynamics that are part of the human experience, right? We're going to encounter them. That's a part of our own experience as we move through this life experience. So that, for me, is a little bit reassuring, right? It gives me a starting point. I don't need to feel like, I'm not good enough. This is something the others are going through the same stuff too. So how is it, the next we're going to move into the space of how we really, how we move into a space of having that call be fulfilled. How is it we're able to live into it? I've been working with, it's all virtual, right? There's so much available, so much great stuff available. But Jeff Warren is a fantastic meditation teacher. And he and Dan Harris were talking about this on 10%. That's a wonderful, I'm doing a little call out for an app. If you're looking for a great sort of meditation, inspirational content, then 10% is a wonderful app. And so Dan Harris is talking with this Jeff Warren, and they're just driving around in a car talking, and they're talking about this, where we get up against these spaces that we just maybe don't have the confidence or the resilience or the strength to step up and really do what's ours to do. And the example that they use is a dance floor, because these are two white guys that presumably they got white guy dance abilities and rhythm, and they're talking about how uncomfortable that is, or has been in their life experience, like just the awkwardness that comes up, so Jeff says, but if you look around at a dance floor, and you look at who on that floor is having the greatest time, who's like really into it and enjoying it, and they don't care what anybody thinks. They're just kind of in it and doing their own thing. And to be able to allow ourselves that kind of permission, regardless of what, and so I'm using dance as sort of metaphor for whatever your passion is, whatever you're being called to, whatever it is that you're resisting stepping into more fully, that dancing, to be able to move into it from a place of, I don't really care. Doesn't matter what other people think about this. I'm just going to bring the fullness of my abilities, of my talents, of my passions, of my love to this experience, regardless of how it looks, right? And I've wrestled with this a little bit because that same theater workshop that I talked about earlier, it was just this amazing, there would always be a dance warm-up. And a lot of the folks who were a part of this, being in Santa Monica or at ballet, they were people who were actors and dancers and performances by vocation, right? So they're really good. But one of the women was also a very large woman. Think like Lizzo kind of body image. And she was going through some challenges with really feeling comfortable in her own skin. And so the director, her assignment that next week was to show up in a bikini and perform in front of all of us. And people are going, oh, no. And she did it. And what I witnessed, I was only there for about a year and a half, but it was kind of the same class moving through it. But what I witnessed was her capacity over that time to be, by the time that I finished up there, like the dance thing, my favorite person to watch was this woman. Because she had become so comfortable in her skin that, because these professional dancers, they'd be like down on the floor and doing their splits and she would be like the same rhythm, the same moves, but with such grace. Like she adapted the moves in a way that were absolutely beautiful and so wonderful and flowing, right? But that's not what I'm talking about here. That's not at all what I'm talking about. I want to focus on the place where she showed up in the bikini, right? Because the only way she got to a place of grace is to be able to have a sense of confidence and dignity in that place that's most uncomfortable. And that's what Jeff Warren is advising too, right? That it's not about really getting good at it or wanting to be, wanting to find that grace. It's like when we encounter that stuff, when we're up against it, can we still approach it with a sense of dignity, even though things are going to heck around us, He says there are times when there will be a time in our lives, we're all going to confront this at some point, where either we're sick or we have been betrayed or that we have had some great failure. And it's in those moments that if we have the resilience and we have a practice behind us that we can show up with a sense of dignity and move through it with this capacity to know that there is something greater beyond it, and to know that even in this moment, I've done my best. There's something here to be proud of. There is an accomplishment right here in this space that's going to move me forward, right? Rather than send me scurrying back and running away like Jonah. A great example, Brene Brown has a new Netflix special out too that's quite good. And in that, she talks about her daughter who was learning to do the breaststroke. And in their family, they had a rule that if you join a team, you have to finish the season. You can't drop out if it gets tough. And so the breaststroke for her daughter was like one of the toughest. She didn't do it well. And I hadn't really thought about it, but if you think about breaststroke, it's like if you're not good at it, breaststroke, I don't even know what it is. It's this? No, this is butterfly. Breaststroke is this, right? So you sort of, unless you're really good at it, you like, when you do this, you're going back and forth, right? You don't really, unless you know how to do it, you're not really propelling through the water. You're just kind of, this kind of thing. And so her daughter Ellen was kind of in that space, but her coach had signed her up to do breaststroke in a relay for one of the finals things, right? And so her daughter wanted to quit. She didn't want to do it. She was going to just, and apparently in swim meets, you can opt out. You can just, when they call your race, you can just kind of disappear and not show up, and they'll run the race without you because they're not going to go on. So they had this whole family discussion about whether or not she was going to show up for the race. And her parents, Brene Brown, of course, is all about vulnerability and challenge yourself and pushing through, but ultimately it was Ellen's choice, Ellen's decision. And so she got in the water and she's in the race, and Brene was up in the stands, and she and her dad were cheering and cheering and cheering, and they could tell that she couldn't really tell how well she was doing, but she looked around and they could tell by the optimism that she thought maybe she was ahead. She was actually behind like by a full lap. She had been completely lapped. So the race is over, and she's got to drag herself. The next race is already up on the blocks and ready to go, and the whole auditorium is waiting for Ellen to finish, right? And she gets out of the pool. She says she left her goggles on because she knew she was crying under it, and there was some coaching by her coach, and so finally the parents were there, and they were sort of walking out with her, and Ellen says, "At least I was brave." Right? She found dignity even in what most of us would be a humiliating defeat, would find a humiliating defeat. And it was a humiliating defeat, right? So how is it that we can be in those spaces, in those places where we are not operating at the level that we feel comfortable or good about, and yet we can still be confident that who we are and how we're showing up is of value, right? It moves us forward on that journey, on that path of creating what we want to create. Let's see. So the other piece, I'm going back now to Dan and to Jeff sitting in that car together. Because what happens on the dance floor, remember we were talking about the dance floor, and those who are having the greatest time are the ones who don't care what other people are thinking of them or thinking about them. That's contagious. If you look on a dance floor in one of those groups and circles where the energy's really good, everyone in that group starts to move into a space of feeling the vibe and starts to not care as much about, and they're in the moment of joy, in the moment of really experiencing fully the gifts that dance is offering, right? So it's a contagious thing. And that's what I want to use as a context for moving into this time of meditation. I'm borrowing another of Jeff's meditations here for this. And most of you, I think, have probably already done a meditation like this before, but I'm going to give you maybe a little context so we could go more deeply. It's called a loving kindness meditation, right? You know, it's where we kind of bless someone with loving and with kindness. And what happens very often is that there is this sense that it's as Reverend Christina would have said, unicorns and rainbows, right? It's like this very kind of namby-pamby, we're all love and light, and we're just going to send out this great emotional kind of energetic vibe, right? And if we're not doing it from this really emotional kind of mushy heart place, then it really isn't effective. And what Jeff says is that's not it at all, right? That actually, if you sort of dig more deeply into the definition of loving kindness, that the roots of that, if we go back into kind of Buddhist tradition, are not so much about romantic love or this beautiful kind of idealistic kind of love. It's about a basic approach to how we see others. It's a basic approach to come from a space of goodwill, to come from wanting to be a force for good, come from wanting to be supportive and to be affirming of others, right? So it's not so much about this I don't know, Cinderella fairy godmother kind of blessing of love. It's really about a place of respect and honoring and giving from that level. So, you know what, I think I'm going to go ahead and skip the Get Ready My Soul thing, and we'll just move it because it's a little longer meditation. But if you and Danny Felina could be available to help us with the Alleluias to come out, that'd be great. So to get ready for this meditation, it's let's see. Jeff describes it as kind of like concentric circles. So we'll start sort of within, and then it gets gradually with each phase we sort of move out. So it starts fairly simply, and then we get to a kind of deeper capacity of really bringing this energy of goodwill into this meditative experience, right? So I would invite you to just go ahead and breathe in and relax like you always do for meditation. Just become present to this moment. I'm going to do quite a lot of talking, so just it's not really going to be one of those meditations. It's lots of music. It's just you're here, you're in this space. And what I would invite you to do is just be really open to the experience. Just no matter what it is, how it is that you experience it, just let that be part of it. You know, if it feels like, oh yeah, I'm into this, I can really see the goodness in others, then great, go with that. If it's like, oh man, this is kind of uncomfortable, it's like, okay, just notice that. That's good information, that's good insight, that's part of growth, that's part of creating this resilience. And Jeff even says at one point, maybe if like, if this a welling up of rage and vitriol, like that's cool too. But just be with it, notice it, and allow yourself to be present to this as a practice, as an exercise for creating a greater capacity in you to be a presence for good, to be a really source of goodwill. So breathe in, totally not judgmental about what this experience is going to be for you, just observing. And I invite you to first call to mind the image of someone very dear to you, someone who it's really easy to like, who you know quite well. And imagine that they're sitting directly across from you. You're sitting eye to eye, face to face. And it's helpful even if you can make yourself smile. Just bring that kind of countenance and energy to it. And see the person across from you smiling back. Just feel the kind of vibe of that. Maybe it's a little awkward because, you know, we don't do a lot of one-on-one, eye-to-eye, but be in it for a minute. Feel your appreciation, your respect, your gratitude for the connection that you share with this person. And then I'm going to ask you to hold just a couple of affirmative statements that you're blessing this person, that you're sending out with. And the adjectives you use can be your own. Just don't put a lot of thought into it. Do something that comes very easily, but it might be something like, I see you strong. I see you healthy. I see you filled with peace. I see you living in joy. Whatever the adjective is, just a couple of statements as you sort of create this energy between you and this image before you of someone dear. Now breathe in deeply and exhale. And we're moving out now in the concentric circles. And so for this next ring, I invite you to call to mind someone whom you don't know very well at all, but that you encounter fairly regularly. Maybe it's the attendant at the dry cleaner. Maybe it's someone you see at the grocery store, cashier. Maybe it's someone who does your hair. Someone you don't know well, but that you have some ongoing connection with. And we're going to send them a blessing, much like we did the person we know really well. And it's beautiful because it's sort of a random act of kindness. See them before you, again with that same gentle presence, even with a smile on your face. And declare an affirmation for them. I see you joy-filled. I see you healthy. I see you happy. I see you safe. Once more, breathe in. Notice your internal experience at this point. Breathe out. And I next invite you to call to mind someone who you really maybe are annoyed by, someone who isn't someone that you would normally hold loving thoughts for, kind feelings, warm feelings. The coaching is, don't make this your arch enemy. Don't make this the worst person on the planet. Make this someone that you can sort of summon that same energy. You can use this vibe that we've been creating to send this person the same kind of a blessing. Again, the adjectives can be whatever feels most resonant for you. But as you imagine this person sitting before you, affirm, I see you happy. I see you healthy. I see you whole. Once more, breathe in and exhale. Kind of note your internal experience. As we move out to the next circle in this ring, this is one that some people find the most difficult. It's that space where we're critical of ourselves, of our ability to dance, of the ways in which we feel we're not yet qualified. But in this space, as you breathe in, imagine that you're facing yourself in a mirror. Picture yourself and extend this same beautiful, sort of loving, compassionate, supportive energy to you. I wish you joy. I see you happy. I see you safe. I see you confident. While we're in this space, we'll take it just one one step deeper. And switch the verb. I am safe. I am protected. I am confident. Whatever your adjective is, claim it for yourself in this moment, knowing that you are every bit as deserving of love and kindness and support as all those who you wish it for. Once more, breathe in. Breathe out, exhale. Notice the energy, notice the vibe you're feeling. And in this last circle, we're going to extend it out. We're going to extend the circle to encompass all sentient beings. Grounded in this sense that we are all connected. Certainly at the spiritual realm, but even in the material realm, that there are ways in which we share atoms of stars, we share molecules of air. We are all connected. And so from this space, I wish all beings well. I wish all beings happiness. I wish all beings peace. One last inhale, breathe in. And exhale, breathe out. And knowing and trusting that this type of practice is exactly what's required so that we can dance our deepest dreams, to move us through those spaces of resistance and challenge and be present to create the world of our dreams. And we're ready. Let's get at it. So it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
Hallelujah.
So this is the time in our service that Kathy mentioned up top could be one of the most powerful. We're welcoming 3 new members into our congregation. So I'd like to invite Kathy, if you'd come forward. And Lori was going to be here. I don't know. Is Lori on Zoom? Lori Kazan. Lori, if you're on, wave your hand. I'd like them to spotlight you so that we can see you. And then Maureen Swift will also be joining us, although she's not able to be here. She has responsibility for caregiving responsibilities that make it unable to be here. But it was a very different experience from most of our membership classes. We did it online. Yes, Jan, thank you. Come on up. We did this online, and it was a wonderful time to kind of connect and get to know. But one of the greatest benefits of that membership class is an ability to kind of connect with others in the congregation. And we didn't really have an ability to do that in the same way. And so this year, for this session, for the first time, we matched each of the new members up with a mentor from the congregation. And then they did a book study, a 6-week book study. I think it was about 6 weeks. Some of them, I think, are still going. So I think, Kathy, you were with Jeff, right? I think Jeff Berry? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, well, I'll get you the book. That'll be your gift.
I have the book.
Oh, great. Okay.
Sorry, everyone.
So this
But
is
I'm admitting.
Kathy Leone is stepping into membership. We had her. She sent us a picture, and you want to tell us just a little bit about the picture and your quote?
So I went on a 4-day vacation with my sister-in-law and another friend. And we were in Michigan and just walking around in beautiful nature. And our friend took this picture, and this is a picture that just kind of brings me peace. I'm very close with my in-laws, and I think of unity brings me inner peace. To refer back to what you said today, and that's what this is about.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
and Kathy is, she's also she jumped right in and is helping with our Right and Perfect Home process. She and Alyssa Foster are leading the team that's kind of out searching for new places when we can re-energize that aspect of our manifestation of Right and Perfect Home. So she's been amazingly connected with a whole lot of people very quickly and done a marvelous job with that. Thank you, Kathy. So next slide. I think we have, if Lori's not online, this is Lori Cozone. Mike, how do you say her last name? Cozone? Cozen, Lori Cozen. She may be online with us. She's from Oak Park. She also got very connected with us back when Reverend Christina was here, and we were talking about ways of doing collaborative ministry. She was on the board at Oak Park with Mike Nash. And so she has been, because she's in Oak Park and has some limitations in terms of being able to travel, she mostly Zooms in, but she was part of this wonderful experience that we had in terms of bringing new members on. And we connected her with Candace Lucas, was sort of her mentor, and I think they are still connecting. They're still talking even weeks later, so that's been a really good, prayerful connection and education. And then the last slide this is a quote from Maureen Swift. As I mentioned, she wasn't able to be here today, and we don't have a photograph of her, but this is an image that kind of goes with her desires and why she sees spiritual community as really a benefit in her life. Be the change you wish to see in the world. I know she's also very involved in the class that just started for Finding Yourself in Transition. She's able to kind of be there for Wednesday night. She's carved that out, so she is continuing to grow and evolve and connect within community here. So those are our 3 new members, and I'm very excited to be introducing them. So what I'd like to do now is recognize that their desire for spiritual connection and with this center is a huge part and a huge reflection of the dynamic that really helps Unity on the North Shore to be able to support one another as we continue to take risks and live our deepest truths. So what I'd like to do is involve the congregation and those of you online. If you participate in this too, that would be great. We have a responsive reading that basically articulates the commitments that we hold as members and as a congregation to one another. And so I'll read the sort of leading part of that, and then Jan will lead you all in the responses to each of these statements of commitment. So here we go. The Spirit of God is alive and active among us, calling us to a greater awareness of our creative power for good. We acknowledge that at all times, the one presence and one power that is God wishes to express in, as, and through our lives.
So, congregation together, beloved new members, again, beloved new members, we behold the goodness of God expressing as you, again, we behold the goodness of God expressing as you.
Our essence being of God, we acknowledge that we are inherently good. Furthermore, we acknowledge that the deepest truth of being is that this same God essence is expressed in everyone, everywhere.
Through the power of the divine, together, through the power of the divine in us, we see the divine in you. Together, in us, we see the divine in you.
Let's try that one again. Do it all as one. I think it's short enough we can do it as one statement. Let's try that.
Through the power of the divine in us, we see the divine in you. Through the power of the divine in us, we see the divine in you.
Nice. Being co-creators with God, we know that we create reality through the thoughts that we hold in our minds and the feelings we hold in our hearts.
We behold the creative power for good that you are. Together, we behold the creative power for good that you are.
Through prayer and meditation, we align our hearts and minds with God. We affirm our oneness with God and with each other. We deny any and all separation from the source of our being and the illusion of separation from each other.
We behold and call forth the Christ as you. Together, we behold and call forth the Christ as you.
God has placed within us all that we need to lead full and joyous lives.
Aligned with infinite good, we boldly do all that ought to be done by us. Together, aligned with infinite good, we boldly do all that ought to be done by us.
And so it is. Amen. So Kathy and in absentia, Lori and Maureen, we hereby welcome you into active membership of Unity on the North Shore and charge you with the responsibility of serving this church with love, faith, and joy. Yay. You're already doing it. You're already doing it. And we have a little gift for you. This is a prayer wheel. I picked these up at Unity Convention. They're brand new. So it's almost like, those paint swatch things that you fan out? It's like one of those with prayers to have by your bedside. So I hope it brings you great comfort and great strength. God bless you. Yay, let us pray. Almighty and ever-loving God, recognizing that we are here by divine appointment, we celebrate the commitment of these new members. In joining Unity on the North Shore today, we see a beautiful demonstration of divine love expressing through us all. And we affirm their affiliation with this spiritual community will greatly bless each of them and all of us. Amen. Yes. Thank you, Kathy. Welcome.
Where usually monthly we have a little money moment and we talk about the money situation. Today we want to focus on the gala. So the first thing is with the gala, we still have a few little details to finish up, but we believe we're going to have about $9,000 incremental versus what we would have had without the gala. So thank you to each and every one of you. If you were able to attend, you bought tickets, you donated something for the auctions, whatever your contribution is, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. The second thing I want to mention is the real thing that I continue to hear about the gala is how much fun everyone had. What a wonderful event it was. And I just want to celebrate the community aspect of the gala. I think everybody came together. We had new friends who hadn't been here before. Kurt's family was here, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just a wonderful celebration of people who think and believe the same things you do. It fed your spirits. It fed our spirits. And so that, as Kurt was mentioning, that energy is contagious. And so thank you for being part of that. And as we go forward, let's bring more of that here. If you have taken a back seat a little bit since the pandemic, maybe come back in the sanctuary. If you haven't come to the in-person classes, maybe come back. Come back and feed your spirit as we gather together as community. Such a wonderful time. And then the last thing we want to celebrate is all the people who made this event happen. And first of all, I want to thank Suzanne Lamb, who is the chairman. And she's here in the sanctuary with us. So Suzanne, if you'll stand up so we can acknowledge you. Anyone who worked with Suzanne, as we know, she was on it. She took care of every detail, and we are so grateful that you were able to create such a beautiful event for and with our community. But otherwise, we also know that there were many volunteers who helped. So if you helped create this event in any way, if you're in the sanctuary, if you want to stand up, we'll be grateful. If you're online, you can raise your hand online, just so we can acknowledge you. And we also want to thank Bernie and Persephone too, because we know they both helped as well. So stand up so we can acknowledge you. Yay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yay. And as we said, this giving is contagious. It comes back to you. It feeds your spirit. So I invite each and every one of you to get involved and be a part of the community here at Unity on the North Shore. Thank you. That said, yay. As we go ahead, it is our time for giving in the service. And so it's just like volunteering and giving. When you give, it feels good. It comes back. It's contagious. So we invite you to give joyously and generously. We have 3 easy ways to give. First is you can text GIVE to 815-827-6052. Second, you can give online at our website, unityns.org, or you can send a snail mail check to 3434 Central Street here in Evanston, Illinois. We always invite you to make a recurring gift. You can do that in our Tithely app, the online app, either with the phone or online. You can do the recurring gift, or you can do it with your bank's bill pay function, and they don't charge any fees. They'll just send us a check every month. So it's easy for you and terrific for us. If you happen to be with us here in the sanctuary, we do have a bowl in the back of the sanctuary where you can drop your gifts at the end of the service. Now let us bless our giving and receiving together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen.
All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace, it shines upon my face. All that I need
A few announcements as we start to wrap up. First one is we have a brand new mobile app, and we encourage you now to turn on your phone and scan that QR code right there so you can download it. And it gives you easy access to events, news, videos, and more. And you'll see once you load the app, there's one frame that says News Feed. If you just click on that, it gives you everything that's happening, any prayers that people have requested, etc. So we invite you to get the app and check it out every once in a while, every day or so. You could just look at it in the morning and see what's happening. It's a safe and secure way if you want to use that as a place to donate with your credit card. And there is a prayer wall to specifically request prayer from others and to commit to praying with others who have requested prayer. So download that right now. Second, we want to highlight the micro-memoir class. You have an opportunity to write up your own life experience in a 600 or 700 word story. This is a class that Sharon Myers has facilitated, and people have absolutely loved it. And she just helps you facilitate a process for writing a story from your own life. The cost is $80, which includes 2 Tuesdays, this Tuesday and next week. And you can register in the app or online by clicking classes and events, and that's at unityns.org. And then today, on this beautiful day, it's a perfect opportunity to help prepare our gardens for winter. So after service today from noon to 1, or next Saturday at noon to 1, October 29th, we invite you to come and join Vicki Elswardia, our garden angel who helps create the beautiful seasonal pots by the front entrance, will be coordinating so we can prepare our gardens for winter. Oh, here she is, yes. Thank you, Vicki, yay. Okay, so thank you to each and every one of you for being with us. Thank you to Danny and Felina. Thank you to the tech team. Thank you to Reverend Kurt. The service would not have been the same without each and every one of you here. Thank you. And now, Felina and Danny will lead us in the peace song, and then Olga will be back with the prayer of protection.
Okay, the prayer of protection is on the screen. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. Thank you for coming. We enjoyed your presence. And for those of you who are here in person, I'll be in the back if you would like to pray. Thank you.